Plants antifreeze. When ice forms inside a plant cell, it will either kill or injure the plant. To avoid this, many plants have evolved to be able to tolerate or avoid freezing. Plants can tolerate freezing through a process called extracellular freezing. During this, water surrounding the plant cell freezes. Water inside the cell moves outside of the cell and adds to the ice outside of the cell. Once ice leaves the inside of the cell, there is less freezable water inside the cell, so the cell has a lower freezing risk. Then, solutions inside the cell, like sugar, have less water, so they are more concentrated, which creates a natural antifreeze.
Plants can also avoid freezing through a process called deep supercooling. This means that plants cool down to below the melting point of water, but while not solidifying. This keeps the plants cold with the weather, but still keeps ice from forming. Also, the stronger and sturdier the plant, the more it can handle and survive, like freezing temperatures. Hardiness of plants can weaken in extreme heat or cold, and they are weaker if they are still growing.
Insect antifreeze. Many insects that survive freezing temperatures produce and freeze molecules. Insects use one of two strategies. They either freeze solid or the prevention of freezing, which both require the production of antifreeze molecules. One strategy that insects use to survive winter temperatures is freezing the solid. As water begins to freeze in the insect's body, more water is extracted from the cells. This allows the water to freeze on the outside of the cells rather than on the inside of the cells where damage will occur. The removal of water from the inside of the cells during freezing concentrates the glucose, a solution, which helps the cell contents turn to slush rather than to solid ice. The colder the temperature, the higher the solubility of glucose in the body fluid. The slush solution prevents the production of ice crystals that will normally rupture the cells.
During supercooling, the insect chills the temperature of the liquid inside its body without forming a solid. This happens because supercooling eliminates the possibility of ice crystals forming on the cell nuclei. At this point, sugars and nuclei liquid produce antifreeze proteins that protect against freezing.
Insects that go dormant for the winter are known as freeze-susceptible. Freeze-susceptible insects avoid freezing by creating an antifreeze solution called cryoprotectants. It is produced by insects chilling the temperatures in their bodies. Cryoprotectants eliminate the possibility of ice crystallizations forming.
Animal antifreeze. Here in Ohio, when we have cold winters, why is it that animals that stick around don't freeze to death? Well, most living organisms use proteins to direct the formation of ice crystals.
So fish, for example, have special blood proteins that act as their natural antifreeze. They're called AFPs, or antifreeze proteins. The proteins are covered in sugar molecules that interact with the surrounding water inside the fish's body. This solution of water and sugar mixing together causes the AFPs to constantly move around and change shape. This random movement stops the structure of ice crystals to form, and so a fish doesn't freeze to death. Then, another group of animals that use natural antifreeze to stay alive is arthropods, specifically Arctic arthropods. To survive the harsh winters, they have a protective dehydration system. This is when all the arthropods' cooled water solution in their body crosses a gradient into their surrounding icy area. They have this movement of the water to prevent ice crystals from forming. Expert opinion. Kathleen Shields from the Lake Erie Nature and Science Center gave us some info regarding our topic and forwarded us to the work of Dr. Ido Bruslovsky. He and a research team discovered the significance of food and medicinal production found in the natural antifreeze in plants, animals, insects, and fungi. From him, we learned that the natural antifreeze solutions don't only protect animals, plants, insects, and fungi from staying alive, but they are also used in the production of food. For example, in food production, they use the fish antifreeze proteins to stop the crystallization of ice in ice cream. We also learned for medicine that these antifreeze proteins are used to store human tissues at very low temperatures.